Sydney Sweeney's new movie, Americana, is tanking at the box office this weekend. But it's not as simple as blaming it all on the American Eagle ad. Sydney Sweeney's new movie, Americana, is a Western crime thriller, and it not only stars her, but also Paul Walter Hauser and Halsey. The film is reportedly bringing in only $500,000 for its opening box office weekend, and that is across just over 1,100 screens. These numbers, in comparison to everything else going on this weekend, are pretty bad. In terms of films actually opening this weekend, Bob Odenkirk's Nobody 2 actually took the highest for the debut this weekend, opening domestically at $9.3 million this weekend at just over 3,200 screens, which puts it in third place for this weekend's box office. First place goes to Weapons, which is continuing its second weekend, and second place goes to Freakier Friday. So why are Americana's numbers so low? There are a number of possibilities here. There's the obvious answer. Everything that happened with Sydney Sweeney was at a pretty bad time for this movie's opening. If you, like me, did actually see any promotion for this film, the comments were absolutely flooded with people saying they weren't seeing the film because of Sydney, and a number of them did reference the American Eagle situation. But there are also a couple of other things going on here. One, this movie had a pretty long delay in its actual release. The film actually premiered in 2023 at South by Southwest to extremely favorable reviews by critics, but Lionsgate purchased the movie for distribution, and ultimately didn't release the movie until this year, which is a full 2-year delay from that excitement. And then not only did they not capitalize on the film festival excitement by getting the movie to theaters quickly, they also didn't put a ton of money behind the marketing for the film itself. And what I think is kind of interesting about the headlines that we're seeing is most of these headlines are saying that this is a complete flop and a disaster, and a lot of them are linking it to Sydney Sweeney's American Eagle ad. However, there are a number of factors at play here, and one of the biggest is that the movie itself will ultimately still probably be profitable for Lionsgate. There are different box office numbers being reported, but Americana should have an opening weekend between $500,000 and $860,000. But with the amount of time that it'll stay in theaters, as well as the value that Lionsgate will see from both the global sales as well as the streaming rights, this movie will most likely still be considered a small indie success for Lionsgate. While the box office numbers do look pretty bad, it also isn't officially telling us that Sydney Sweeney is or isn't going to bring people to the box office anymore. And I think what will be more interesting will actually be the box office return for her next movie, Eden. Eden is a Ron Howard movie that comes out on August 22nd, and that actually stars Jude Law, Vanessa Kirby, and Ana de Armas alongside Sydney Sweeney. And I think it'll be interesting to see whether or not Sydney actually hurts the box office for this film, more so than Americana. Americana was a Western, which has not been performing particularly well recently, had a delayed release, and a pretty small marketing budget. And so while I do think that the last couple of years overall for Sydney Sweeney have harmed her marketability, I think all of that is becoming a negative when it comes to her box office draw. The question is, does Americana really demonstrate what the rest of her box office looks like moving forward? Or does this just feel like a bigger whammy because of the fact that the American Eagle ad is so fresh? And there are a number of other factors that would have caused this movie not to do well at the box office anyway. Did you even hear about this movie? Were you planning to see it and then changed your mind because of Sydney Sweeney? And are you planning to see her new movie Eden? Or does her presence in a film actually make you not want to see it anymore?